All right, looks like we're live. Hello, everyone. A quick catch-up session for RP 101 because, I missed it yesterday. Every once in a while, I can't do my streams. So, here's the catch-up. Welcome to Roleplaying 101, as always, where my co-host and I sit around and complain about things we really dislike seeing, while giving some friendly warnings about things we have encountered, and just discuss things in role playing in general and give our thoughts and opinions on the matter. Hi, Phantom. There's my co-host. So let's see. I actually had quite a few topics come up over the course of the week, and the first one, oddly enough, is emo versus angst, and which is which. And, well, guess what, folks? This is a topic that is going to be heavily influenced by perspective, and it's why art is ultimately art. There are a lot of folks out there who seem to think that when a character goes through any amount of emotional turmoil, that means the character is being quote-unquote edgy or emo. I guess what I want to remind folks of is people live in those exact conditions. People are experiencing those exact things, like right now. So it's just a tiny bit insensitive when the conditions certain people live with every day get labeled as something more of a teenage mood variation. Some of us live with medical conditions and trauma. We're not trying to be edgy, we're not trying to be emo. What we're actually doing is trying to inform the people around us of the kind of darkness that exists around them without their knowledge through the art of storytelling. As many writers do. So many people like me are a proof of that darkness that exists. So to attempt to silence us just lets us know you don't really care about our well-being and perspective. And what we've experienced doesn't really matter. Only your shallow opinion on the topic does. And yet some people wonder why we leave their games, because we're literally being told we're irrelevant by playing certain characters for attention, when we're not playing them for attention, folks, but to gently remind the world there is suffering around them, and that we can't forget that. To forget that, to try and shut out such a large section of the world, especially in storytelling, just seems really foolish and odd to me. One of the whole points of storytelling is, getting topics out there, getting things discussed, getting people to think about things in different ways. So when people are just outright saying, no, I don't want this in my game, or none of this can happen in my game, or somebody, literally gets on someone's case about accusing them that they're playing a character for attention, it's just really strange why those people would get accused, and yet the power gamers who always run out into battle and almost get the party killed every time, why they're not singled out for that kind of destructive behavior. I don't know, it just seems really strange that certain aspects are seen as just strangely, I don't know, the whole term edgy, the whole edgy term, and the whole the movement that started utilizing this term for things, it seemed really strange when it first started popping up around. It's like, okay, and now it's almost like edginess is used to describe real life situations. It's like, wait, so what does that actually mean? I'm confused. Are you using it to exaggerate something, or are you using it to mean it's too real? Like it's too much like real life for it to be, fun in a game scenario. I don't know, it's just confusing because everyone seems to use it in their own way. So it's another one of those words where it's like, I don't know what people mean exactly. I have to ask for clarification because everyone has their own idea on what it is, just like limits. Everyone has their own idea on limits and what those are and what is or is not acceptable. So, it's just important to be clear, I guess, about your expectations, both as a player and a GM. Don't The one situation that's weird to me is when you have people who play in a psychological horror game, and then several players will get upset that one of the other players really laid heavily on the psychological themes on their character. So that's a little confusing for me. So you all entered a realm where you're going to sit and play in a psychological horror campaign, but then you get mad at the one player who really embraces the campaign and details their character's history out in a very psychological way. I mean, it's their character. Exactly. As Phantom says in the chat, it's edgy to have a realistic problem of perfectionism due to distant parents with unrealistic expectations of academic achievement. Yeah, exactly. That's edgy to have a realistic history, a realistic problem with the character and their parents. Yeah, I don't understand it, you know? It's really weird that people are using this word in just strange ways. I wish there was a clear definition, you know, but everyone seems to have a different idea of what this edginess is. It's either them being, you know, stereotypically emo, or it's something like that. It's just realism, psychological realism, which I don't understand how that's edgy. That's not edgy, that's just realistic. What do you want from people? Do you want them to just write total fantasies? Like, some of us play in modern horror games where the characters are based in a real world where they go to school, they have college, they have jobs, they have rent, they have all this normal stuff. So, you know, the psychological factors are many. So it's just strange. It's just strange when people seem to think that making a character layered and complex and psychologically deep means you're making the character edgy. No, you're making an actual character, a three-dimensional person, which is what I encourage people to do. To do anything else, I think, is inadequate, but that's just my opinion on the matter. But, yeah, you know, so just a reminder, emo versus angst, okay? It's not all emo. Angst is an actual storytelling tool. Angst, depression, sorrow, melancholy, this all falls under a similar category. And, you know, some of us just write characters like that. Some of us just, you know, we want to roleplay something that's tragic. You know, it doesn't have to be grandly tragic, but it certainly can be tragic on a small scale. So, I don't know. Let people play the characters they want to play, man. I don't know. Stop telling them they're edgy for playing realism. That's the weirdest thing for me. Okay, now, plot funneling. Alright. Stop doing it if you want the character's actions to have an impact on the story. If there's only one way to win a battle, if there's only one way to talk someone down, if there's only one route to the plot's objective, then why are we even here? One of the reasons I love role-playing is because it allows for variance and creativity. People can pitch wild ideas like, can I rip the wound... this one fucking... Can I rip the wound in its throat open wide enough to crawl inside and then attack it from the inside? Or, can I attempt to seduce the queen? Or even, can I hide in a tree? Okay, I've gotten some bizarre questions and tactics pitches throughout my years, and I've got to tell you, it's why I GM and storytell, okay? It's the radical ideas some folks come up with are just the exact reason I love offering my players the freedom to pitch any idea anytime. Is it always a good idea? No, it isn't. The dude who flirted with the queen, that kind of backfired due to bad rolls. The guy who crawled into the worm spawn wound to attack it from the inside, that actually turned out to be a better idea than anyone thought. He almost died, but that's Werewolf the Apocalypse for you. You know, what doesn't kill you lets you suffer another day. And the tree hider... Okay, who ever heard of a guru who hides in a tree? Alright, it was a stupidly sound tactic that still frustrates me to this day, but I can't knock a tactic that continues to work. You know, I just had to come up with more dangerous situations where trees weren't involved. That generally solves the problem. But, you know, still, like, my players are very, very creative. They come up with some really interesting ideas. And sometimes the hardest part of my job as a storyteller, as a GM, is not emoting on how good or bad of an idea that they just pitched me was, because sometimes I don't even think of what they think of. And that's why I like my main group of players, because my main group that I normally play with live around an actual table, the things they come up with is just so bizarre. I'm just often have to sit and think for a minute, and I know, like, every once in a while my friends will be like, okay, the action you just took made like 10 pages go out the window. I'm like, no, you didn't make 10 pages go out the window. I just have to think about how this character's going to respond to you doing this crazy thing you just pitched to do, you know? And to be fair, I'm that kind of player too, because when I play in my friends' games, similar things happen, and it's nice to repay that favor every now and again, to ruin someone else's plan with my just impulsive action, you know, that they didn't think anyone would do, you know. So that's what I like. That's what I like about role-playing. I love that people can come up with these crazy ideas. I love that people can find a roundabout solution to the problem, or in some cases they'll find a straight shortcut to the problem. I've had one-shots that ended within an hour or two because the crew found like a majorly secret shortcut that they weren't really supposed to find until the end for their escape, you know, but they found it in the beginning, and so that led them straight to the boss battle instead of going all the way around the whole complex that they had to do, and so that was interesting. That was, you know, again, you can't always count on what your players are going to do, and when they're going to really choose to apply themselves, because when they do choose to apply themselves, those are the times when they just, you know, throw a wrench in my whole plot line, and I have to be like, all right, well, that was cool. I had all this stuff set up for you guys, but you just bypassed all of it, so never mind. Yeah. I like having multiple paths to the goal, and I like playing in games that have multiple paths to the goal. When I'm funneled into doing a very specific thing a very specific way, I get really upset, because to me that's not role-playing. That is a good thing to mention, Phantom. On the other hand, one-shots can also drag on forever if players don't communicate. No, that's a thing. They certainly can. But that goes for any game. It's just with one-shots it just feels excruciatingly, you know, just slow and painful, because it's supposed to be something that's over in a day, and then it's not, and then it's like, all right, yeah, why are we still here? Let's see. Okay, this is more like a complaint than anything else, but 'cause I seem to see this a lot. Stop using legitimate role plays as places to vent your fetish-related frustrations, okay? Not everyone is in this hobby for ERP. Some of us just want to write cool stories with awesome characters. If you're looking for smut, you need to be clear about the fact you're looking for porn and not an actual plot line. You waste the time of legitimate GMs like myself when you assume the adventure is going to be erotic. I only run normal adventures for free. If you want badly organized plot to allow several blatant, pointless sex scenes, I need to get paid for it. That is, that's just how that is. I don't cater to people's fetishes and kinks for free. That's because it's not fun for me. It's not fun for me or any other GM for that matter, or DM or storyteller, to cater to every person's whim and kink, because that's not why we're here. Okay, you want to find yourself a kink DM, go find yourself a kink DM. I'm sure you can find one, but are you going to be able to find one for free? I don't know. Good luck. God help you. Because, you know, some of us just aren't willing to do that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Phantom and I both, neither one of us, cater to people's fetishes and kinks for free. So, I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, because people are thirsty, yeah. Because everyone is out there trying to get laid in game, I guess, you know? It's just weird. It's, I just wish people would be clear about it, you know? Anyway, how's it going? Nice to see you. It's fine if they want it to be a part of the campaign. It's fine if that's what you want your campaign to be about. But you need to be clear about that, you know? Like, I don't understand these people who join these games and they seem to expect ERP. They expect that's going to be what happens. It's we're talking about stop using legitimate role plays as places to vent your fetish related frustrations. You know, it's an issue. Yeah, it's an issue. It's like I said, we don't mind kink campaigns. Just be sure you're clear about it, and don't join a game expecting it to be that unless it says clearly it's going to be an erotic campaign. You know, it's just I don't know. Next topic, I guess. Nice to see you, Moth. Okay. Vet your friends before you bring them into games you're excited about, because if they turn out to be a whiner, a power gamer, or a downright drama queen, it reflects badly on you. The person, who invited them and told the GM they could handle the game. This makes us want to kick the offending player, but also the player who suggested they be invited, because when you can't vet your own friends, it kind of makes us think your social skills probably aren't the best, and that you as well likely can't be trusted. Remember the old saying, guilt by association. It tends to apply, but I get really tired of having people brought into my games and then they ghost. They just up and ghost. People that are recommended to me by other people, and it's less disappointing if they just can't handle the system or the game itself. It's like, that's fine, but when they just ghost or whatever, it's like, okay, well, why did you even invite them in the first place? Like, this was sort of a waste of everyone's time. You should probably be sure your friend's really interested before you invite them. We've seen this many times. In one game, we had one person who tried to invite, their relative multiple times, and it just kept not working. They just didn't know how to be active, and so we just wound up having to remove them. So, I don't know, I just get tired of people not vetting their friends. I don't know why you invite someone if they're not going to be paying attention or keeping up with all of that, But yeah. Power gamers, sometimes, yes, power gamers is in perfecting stats, but it goes, crosses other boundaries as well. Power gamers also tend to be showboaters, is what I like to call them. They want to steal all the glory, they want to do all the things, they want to be the hero, and so it's just as much about the whole min-max capitalization on their character as it is about in-game conduct and their behavior, and how they are just trying every second of the day to be the glory hog, and it gets to be a bit much if they're trying to tell your other gamers how to game. I don't know. It just, the power gamer mentality kind of just doesn't sit right with me. But yes, Nori, sometimes life happens. You can't, there's nothing you can do about that. But, yeah, life does get in the way. People just need to communicate. That too. That's a good thing to mention, Phantom. The power gamer also tries to be in every scene, regardless of the fact that it isn't possible. That's another marker of a power gamer. Once again, the whole IC OOC separation. Just because you want your character to be everywhere and be in every scene doesn't mean it's feasible for your character to be everywhere and in every scene. There's a timeline. You can only be in one place. So if something's going on before or after or at the same time, you're just gonna have to figure that out first. It was only back in the day way, way, way back in the day. Back in the day when role players were, responsible. We could have people who would have one character, and they would have them in like 4 different scenes. They would have them in 4 different scenes because that person knew that in their timeline, all of those scenes corresponded just fine. And as long as they weren't making mentions of things that happened in the wrong place, they were totally fine. They were able to play those scenes out, add all that stuff to their character's history, no big deal. It was never like they were in 2 places at the same time. Not unless your character is actually, capable of that. Which, depending on the character, some can. But yeah, the power gamer mentality is just a little too much for me sometimes. But, let's see. I think I've got a few more topics here. Oh yeah, I've got a friendly neighborhood reminder here that the GM does not work for you unless you pay them. They're not obligated to bow to your petty whims unless there's an exchange of currency. Otherwise, this is our recreational hobby, folks, and we'll engage in it how we damn well please. You don't own us, you don't get to make demands, we will kick you if you persist and become a problem, end of story. That's pretty much it. No, yeah, Phantom, that's exactly why you shouldn't try to read other people's threads in a play-by-post server, especially in a play-by-post server, because I don't know why, but people have such a hard time keeping in-character and out-of-character information separate. I don't know why they have a hard time with that, but they do. And it almost makes me think that threads should be, locked. Like they shouldn't even be allowed to see those threads. Like, I hate to do that, I hate to, have a server that's totally separated and, have everyone doing their own thing where they can't see what everyone else is doing. But if they can't be responsible enough to not look at each other's posts and not use that information in character, I can't handle it, I can't handle people not being able to handle the fact that there's in-game information and out-of-game information. Huh. Yeah. Exactly. Situations like that, Moth. When one character's doing something and another character is asleep. Yeah, your character shouldn't know any of that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I think I vaguely remember that, Phantom. Yeah, the discrepancies, that's part of the problem. Exactly. You're in a completely separate building. This has nothing to do with you. It doesn't even... How would you know? Exactly. That's what I'd like to know. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. It's... I don't know. Again, I'm getting to the point where I'm going to start separating threads, and force people to be separate. But only if I have to, only if I have to. Alright. Right? Nori? Should be, right? Just read the threads you're in. No, other people are nosy, and they don't know to do that. They stick their noses in everyone else's thread, and they're like, oh, well, now I know this is going on, and now I know this is going on. And I even had a player tell me once, he's like, oh, it's going to be really hard to roleplay that now that I have this out-of-character knowledge. I was like, why would it be hard for you to roleplay that with out-of-character knowledge that has nothing to do with you, and your character doesn't know it? So therefore, it affects you in 0 ways. It's just that you have the knowledge as a player, and now that's affecting your ability to play your character. So that's a problem. What can I say? Anyway, let's talk about pay-to-play role-playing for a second, because, and why it's becoming so popular. Let's think about that for a second, folks. Why do most apps want people to pay for a subscription because it verifies they're a real person with a real bank account who can be held liable if something illegal occurs. Yes, profit is a part of it. Yes, artists deserve to get paid for their craft, and what is a GM, a DM, or a storyteller but a friggin' artist? But this verification process also helps reduce the amount of unprofessional players you encounter. Players willing to pay for a session are guaranteed to show up to that session on time, and I very much doubt they'll be ignoring what's going on. With normal games and players, we GMs encounter a menagerie of unprofessionalism. People can't stay in contact with us, they can't stay active in a game, can't make it for a one-shot session. Some people can't even make it to a one-shot session. So, yeah, enough of this, and we get tired of running free games for players with no sense of dedication or professionalism. I can't be left hanging if I have an important question that needs answering. It holds the entire roleplay up and then makes me look bad as a GM. This is why I cut out inactive players quickly and efficiently. I don't have time to waste. It's also why a lot of my games are becoming, like the topic says, pay to play. Because if someone is paying me, guess what? They actually want my time and attention, and they give me theirs. It's a great exchange, and everyone is happy at the end of it. It's way more fulfilling than waiting for days on end for players who can't take 10 minutes out of their day to post for a one-shot, but can be on their PS4 playing Call of Duty or some other nonsense. I'll take the dedicated players who pay me for my talents and time over the folks who think I owe them something when they haven't paid me a cent any day. Don't be surprised as the rest of the talented GMs and DMs and storytellers slowly realize they can make money at their craft. You'll find you might have to start paying for a decent game, and honestly, I can't blame a single one of them for doing so. I'm on the bandwagon too. It's all fair game. So, I don't know. Primarily Discord. There are other players that we're at, or other sites and other places that we're at in advertising, but or rather had been advertising. We don't necessarily advertise from all those places anymore because Discord's been the most has been the most dependable with its player pool, I'd like to say. I mean, we still get ghosts, we still get some people who can't handle staying in contact with us, but in comparison to the other places I've been, other places I've advertised at, MRPG, Reddit, yeah, and they've just been disappointing. Like, the player pools haven't been very good, the people don't communicate very well, and so Discord has been the one place that people keep in touch with us pretty well, and they know how to communicate, and it's not, a question mark of us wondering where our players are, and what they're doing. So that's nice, When I do run free games, that's where I advertise them, that's where I run them. But for everything else, it's going to start being pay to play, because it's just getting a little hard to deal with the unprofessionalism, like... Yeah, there are certain, World of Darkness server is one of the places that I advertise most regularly, because, as I've said in other places, it's had the best ratio of dependable players, and also the best ratio of players not acting ridiculously stupid, because for whatever reason, when we get players that are usually D&D players, those people come into our games and they have a really good habit of getting themselves killed pretty quickly. So I don't really know what's going on there, I don't know, like psychologically, I don't know what D&D players are thinking. I don't know, maybe they think they can just rush into any scenario and survive. I don't know, but the World of Darkness players are a little more cautious and don't tend to do that, don't tend to just run out and get their characters killed. Now, to be fair, World of Darkness, from the very first point that you start reading it, it's a very, very dangerous game. Okay. Yeah. And that's... Yeah, spells to revive. Okay, yeah, exactly. And that's a problem. Alright, as I predicted... My delivery is here to interrupt my crap, so I have to take a really quick break here. And I will be right back. The Chocobo is my text notification. Literally my phone. But yes, fam, that makes sense. That I always forget that you can revive and raise dead and resurrection and all that in D&D, and so they can rush out and get killed and go back to town and get raised. I forget, because that happened to me most recently in 5e. My character got totally toasted by Dragonfire, and they took my ashes and they went and got me revived. So yeah. So D&D, I guess, is the never-ending game. It's the game where you have all of these opportunities to survive. World of Darkness is not. World of Darkness, if you die in World of Darkness, you are dead. Now, you might have the opportunity to become a wraith or something, but other than that, there's really not that many options. And death is easy in World of Darkness. Most of the books warn you right off the bat, like, this is a dangerous game, this is the World of Darkness. It's a dangerous world, so you have to be careful. So yeah, so I guess that's why. I guess that's why. World of Darkness players just naturally know that they have their one character, and there's no raise dead, there's no revive, there's no resurrection, there's none of that. You might be able to live on as a spirit, but that's about it. That's it, your character's done. And there you go. There's a good example. If none of your 5e characters have ever actually died, that's a pretty good indicator that it's a very forgiving game that lets you make mistakes over and over again, and hopefully you learn from them. Hopefully you are growing as a person every time your character dies, and you learn something meaningful. If you're not, I don't know. Good luck, I guess. Alright, here's one of the last topics for the day. Time management and communication. Because I just recently saw someone make a comment that weekly games are an unrealistic expectation. Real adults have jobs and schedules and can't maintain that sort of game rhythm. Well, I then had to kindly interject and remind folks I run 2 weekly games, and the only thing that stops them from happening are illnesses, emergencies, and holidays. The coolest part is that most of them are in constant contact with me. I know when they're sick, I know when they're busy, I know when traffic might delay their being there. It's great. If more people were this communicative with me, with their GMs, their DMs, and their storytellers, then there would be a lot less missed sessions and games going kaput as a result. It's a lot of work, don't get me wrong. I message people on the regular, give the day before or morning of reminder of the session day. I text people if I have to. Because of this, my games meet regularly and have nice plot progress as a result. But here's the thing. If a single person is missing from the session, then I offer my remaining players a choice. We play without that person for this particular session, but on the next session, we'll be doing a catch-up session for the missing player, and the other players will aid with that by portraying NPCs for extra experience. If not, we just postpone and we all wait for the following week. It's rare that we ever miss 2 weeks in a row. Someone would have to be deathly ill or on vacation, and that brings me to the subject of hiatuses. Do not treat hiatuses like they're game enders. For me, they never have been. I offer players a hiatus because sometimes they have things come up in their lives. They need to travel somewhere, or help family, attend a funeral, what have you, whatever. 4 to 7 weeks of us just chilling while one of our players, and friends by this point, if you're in a game for any length of time and you don't become friends with any of your players, I'd chance to say there's something wrong with you. Attend something important is not a huge deal. Usually my other players start ticking off the days themselves and then remind me it's almost time to pick up again. So I really don't understand why people are afraid of hiatuses or why people are afraid of staying in contact with their GMs and their fellow players. It makes it so much easier to run the game. It makes it just so much easier to exist. Like I don't like that I have to remind people, on session days, but I do it, I do it because this is my hobby. I like doing it. I like running games. I like telling stories. So I enjoy it when my players are there to actually, take part in the story. That's why we're all here. So for the people that think it's too hard to meet once a week, all I can really say is I don't think they love role-playing enough. Because when you love something and you really want to do it, you make time for it. And that's what me and my life partner do. We make time for it. My life partner works full-time. He works full-time and then works part-time on top of that. We have busy schedules, but we still make time for role-playing. Exactly, Moth. Exactly. 8 trips to the ER in the past 6 months. That's hellish. Holy crap. I hope you're good. but yeah, if it never stopped any session from happening, then yeah, role-playing is important to you and you like doing it, and you'll make time for it. And that's the difference. The people that love it will make time for it no matter what, That's pretty much has to be me. I have to be pretty much deathly ill to miss a session because I can run them online, I don't even have to go anywhere. It's very good dedication, That's pretty intense. I haven't been hospitalized. I've just been almost hospitalized. But yeah, there's legitimate reasons to miss sessions, and medical reasons are definitely one. But if you love something, you're gonna make it happen. That's just how it is. And my players always let me know. That's the cool thing. If they have something going on, they'll be like, hey, I don't think I'm going to make it next week because I have this going on. And we'll be like, no worries, Me and the rest of the players is like, no worries, that's fine. We'll postpone this week and we'll meet up next week. Not even a big deal. It's really cool. And I get spoiled on these games where these players are so communicative with me because then when I go to try run new things, then I'm right back in the swing of, people not telling me what they want, not telling me what days they're available, not telling me what character they want to play, just like me DMing them as some sort of weird insult or something, or me trying to have an open dialogue with them as somehow, I don't know, invasive. I don't know. If you're trying to join a game that's GM run, you got to talk to the GM. So I don't know why these people think they can be in a game and not talk to us. Because the communication is just so important. It is so freaking important. Without it, none of this can happen. None of this can happen if we don't communicate. So the less people do, the harder it is to make games. So I can understand why they get... No, exactly, Phenom, that's exactly the whole thing. My character is so awesome. You should be grateful I'm allowing you to bask in its glory. Yeah, no, some people are like that. Some people have that mentality. Man, Moth, I'm just glad you're doing well now, man. ER trips are not fun. Oh, God. You have a healthy sense of humor. I wish I could have that sense of humor. Oh, man. And there you have it. And there you have it, you know? Some people can handle it, some people can't. And I wish more people were tenacious and could handle that kind of stuff and could keep their communications up, because it's really not that hard. It's really not that hard to let people know what's going on. Hey, I can't be at the session today. Cool. No problem. Thanks for letting us know so we could make other plans, you know? Because I can make other plans. There's other things I would like to be doing, and if it's not going to... I think my delivery dude just came and he's locked out, so I'm going to have to go real quick. Again, excuse me. And there we go. I'm back. Oh yeah, thanks for joining us. It was nice to see you. It's always nice to see people. Yeah. Yeah, we did notice that about the discrimination against non-humanoid humans and humanoid characters. I don't know what that's all about, because it's fantasy. Like, it's so strange to me. I'm seeing people literally asking for human-only campaigns, fantasy games. And to me, that's just like, that's almost an oxymoron. How do you have a fantasy game and have nothing but humans in it? That's... What's the point of that, is sort of my questioning. I... Even in, like, base fiction, okay, if we think back to base fiction, I guess, and maybe I was influenced by the things that I read when I was a child, but I read, Chronicles of Narnia, and Redwall, and The Sword of Shannara, and like all these crazy books where there was all kinds of cool races, you know, not just humans. And in some cases, like with the Redwall series, there's no humans. Zero. Redwall universe is all animals. It's all critters, you know. It's a medieval world of war and strife, but it's told through anthropomorphic animals. And it's really cool because the writer gave him really interesting cultural influences, you know, like the otters are sailors, you know. It's funny. Yeah, there's zero humans in Redwall. Zero. You know? So that really put on me like this huge expectation in fiction and literature. I thought there was going to be all of this fiction and literature that like was like that, you know, the people who like to write with the non-human characters. But as it turns out, there's really just there's getting to be a smaller and smaller group of us. And what it feels like is it's not even story related. It has nothing to do with the fact that, you know, these people don't necessarily care about them as a character. It's just that they don't like looking at things they can't visualize themselves having sex with. That's what I think it really comes down to. And when they look at something that looks, you know, like a xenomorph or an anthropomorphic, you know, animal, or, you know, just whatever kind of weird looking creature it is, they look at that and they think, oh, well, I can't be attracted to that. I can't have a relationship with that. I can't have sex with that. Therefore, I don't care about it. I don't care about it. I don't want to hear its story. I don't want to know anything about it because I can't have sex with it. You know, that seems to be the average player mentality. And it's just weird. It's just weird because, like, I'm not playing in games just to get laid. I'm not looking at people's characters as though they're just pieces of meat. And that's what these role players are doing. They're literally objectifying people's characters. Yeah, it is. It is. It's really sad and shallow to be doing that kind of stuff. People don't like it done to them, so why is it okay to do it to their characters? Like, just seems weird. It's just one of those weird cultural things. It's just, oh, well, it's a fictional person, so it's okay to objectify them. Is it? Is it really? I mean, it's kind of a weird thought process in my mind. But, you know, it is what it is. People roleplay what they want to roleplay, and it seems to be a lot of human eroticism. That's a lot of what we see. Like Phantom and I, whenever we're looking at, you know, people advertising, usually there's gonna be it's some erotic campaign, or there's an erotic aspect to the campaign. You know, there's always something. And I don't know if that's what the average player wants. I just don't even know what to do, because hey, and that's cool, you know? Some people just like elves. It's cool that you play elves and you don't fetishize them, okay? Honestly, that's awesome. That's freaking awesome, because that's what other people are doing to them. They see elves and they're like, oh, a sexier human. Yeah, it's still human, so I can still have sex with it. It's totally not bestiality, even though they're totally misinterpreting what bestiality means. But, you know, whatever. If you can have a conversation with something, folks, it's not bestiality. That's literally one of the factors. Anyway. My God. Yeah, no, I wish more people were that way and just like to play elves because they like to play elves. I like to play elves on occasion too, you know. I usually play weird ones, but every once in a while, yeah, I do like to play elves. They're a fairy, you know. They're a part of folklore, you know. They just, you know, usually happen to look kind of human. I usually adjust that, you know, because I like things that don't look human, you know. So I'll give them like insect eyes or something, you know, just something to set them apart. But yeah, I don't get it. I do not get it. Hopefully we'll slowly see less of it, you know. We did We did talk about the gods with beast aspects are furries. Yeah. We did. And I was just blown away. Gods with beast aspects are furries. Okay. Alright. Well, that's a lot of religions you just generalized into one broad category, like Egyptians, Greek, Mesopotamian, Native American, Aborigine. Like, there's just so many. Asian, with certain people being dragons, I guess that means they're furries. That just cracks me up. That cracks me up. I cannot believe someone actually said that. That's almost as funny as when I saw somebody complain on some forum somewhere, and literally what the guy he was complaining about was, how come I can't gank noobs in this game? Okay, that was literally his question. And so he got nothing but hate from the community. People are just like, you're just the worst type of person. Just blatant weird statements, that I'm sure make people blink and go, alright. I mean, okay. I didn't realize the entire world was furry worshipping. But interesting angle. I wish it made sense. But, like flat earth theory, not everything can make sense. It doesn't help. People seem to forget we are in the mammal category. I don't know. Human superiority. I have a thing with this human superiority thing. It's like a new theme. And it's really weird to me. Because even in fiction, like I'm seeing it in fiction too. It's maybe it's mostly anime, but there's just a lot of stories where humans are just the pinnacle of any race in the universe that the story takes place in, and so people are always aspiring to become humans. Oh, and I brought this up to my life partner. When you create a world, specifically create a world, you have forged a world, and you have put nothing but humans on it. Okay. You've populated your world with humans, and now you've denoted that humans are the strongest and the best thing in the world, and to play anything else would be foolish, Now, you might still offer the option for people to play other races, but for the most part, it's human-dominated population, and they have all of the benefits, whether they're governmental or magical. And then those people always want to play a character in that race. This race that is the dominant, in control, they control everything, they hold all the power, they have all the magic, all that stuff. When people orchestrate this whole, setup for themselves, it just almost, in a distant way, it just almost feels like racism. It's like, so you've built a society where there's one perfect race, and then you, of course, have chosen to play this race. And now this race controls everything, and they never lose control, and they always are able to tell other cultures how to live their lives and what to do. They make all the laws, they call all the shots. That just almost feels like, see you, Nori. Just almost feels like a little bit of some superior racism going on. You've literally built a world. I never build a world where one culture is in control. That's unrealistic, for one. You would have to have a one world order, which, if you theorize that, you could theorize that 12 different directions, it's going to come out a different way each time. And it's been theorized by many writers before. So it's just interesting to see these little societies that they build, these societies of human perfection. And And they might even take it a step further, and all the other races are enslaved, and humans are now in control of them. You know, it's just weird. It's a weird setup. It's a weird human cock-stroking setup that, as a GM, I would expect that to come crashing down around the players. Because, like, I would think that's what it's being set up as. I'm like, it's a Jenga tower, you know? It's like, yeah, it's all proud and powerful, and then, you know, shit's gonna come and knock it all over. But no, that's never what happens. It's never what happens. No, these role plays where the humans are in control, and they are in these massively, you know, dominated environments. Usually the people just explore ERP stuff with those settings, and I never really... It is. It's a Jenga tower. Like, they build it and they build it and they build it. Oh, we're in control. We have all this land. We do all this. I'm like, all right, well, that's going to come crashing down, you know, because nothing that gets built that tall, you know, ever stays, you know. It's just the history, patterns of history show us that when a society becomes too large, it will collapse upon itself. Yeah, and it does. It usually boils down to ERP stuff, and that's the sad part. It's like, they build this whole messed up world, and then they just want an ERP in it, you know? And usually it's human-dominant ERP. They want to be a human slave master, and they want to abuse the other races, you know? Which, again, how is that not psychologically showing some negative pathology, you know? It sounds to me like you have some messed up ideas in your head that you want to live out, sir. And that seems to be a lot of people, you know? And it's just crazy. It's just weird to me. Hopefully we'll see less of it, but I don't know. It's just a weird setup. It's a weird thing to set up. It's a weird thing to set up, to want to play, and then to only engage in erotic roleplay with it, to never actually take it anywhere story-wise, is just the even more bizarre thing with me. So I don't know. You know, like I always say, people can do what they want, but that is just a weird thing to be doing. It... Yeah. So, hopefully people will break away from that. That's all I can hope. But it's been a good discussion today. I know I got interrupted a couple times with my deliveries, but luckily it wasn't too big of a deal. I was able to touch on all my topics. We got Moth and Nori to come and say hi to us, so that was really cool. As always, thanks for being here, Phantom. Thanks for anyone who takes the time to listen to our rambling and nonsense. Always feel free to, you know, pop a comment on our discussions, you know, whatever. You can disagree with us, you know. We like it. We like it when people disagree with it. At least I do. I like it when people disagree with me because it shows me you're thinking. Okay, it shows me that you have your own opinion, you have your own stance. I like seeing that. All right, just don't be offensive about it. There's a way to be nice and still voice your opinion.